You ever wonder how a hotel figures out its room prices for, say, a huge concert weekend that's still months away? Or why that same exact room costs $100 on a Tuesday but jumps to $300 on a Saturday? Well, I can tell you it is definitely not guesswork. It all comes down to a really powerful tool called demand forecasting. And honestly, it's the engine that drives pretty much everything in the hospitality world. Okay, so let's jump right in. Picture this. You're the manager of a hotel. Every single month, you've got a number you have to hit, an occupancy target. It's a super common challenge, right? But the real question is, how do you know if you're even on track to meet that goal? This. This is the question that probably keeps a lot of revenue managers up at night. Because a forecast that's off, that's not just a wrong number on a spreadsheet. No way. It has real, actual consequences that ripple through the entire business. And this chart here, it just lays out the problem perfectly. See, over on the left, that's our target. We need to sell 130 rooms. But on the right, well, that's our current forecast, our best guess, and it's only projecting 90 rooms sold. That's a 40-room gap. We are definitely on track to miss our goal, and that is a big deal. So to close that gap, you've got to understand the tool you're working with. Forecasting is, it's kind of part science, part art. It's all about trying to peek into the future to predict what your customers are going to do. So what is a forecast, really? Think of it like a projection. It's an educated guess about what's coming, based on all the data you've got. It's basically the hotel's crystal ball. It helps managers see those crazy busy periods and those super slow weeks way before they happen. And that becomes the foundation for every big decision they make. And this just shows you how critical it is to get it right. It's not just about what price to set for a room. Your forecast tells you how many housekeepers you need on the schedule, how much food the kitchen should order. It's absolutely vital for managing cash flow. You get the forecast right, and the whole operation just runs like a well-oiled machine.
Okay, so we get what it is, and we get why it's a huge deal. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. How do you actually calculate a simple demand forecast?
All right, the first piece of the puzzle is your reservations on hand, or ROH. You might also hear people call it business on the books, or BOB. This is your starting point. It's the solid, concrete number of rooms that are already sold for a specific date in the future. But of course, you're going to sell more rooms between now and then, right? That's where pickup comes into play. It's an estimate based on your past data and what's happening now. Things like an upcoming holiday, a big conference rolling into town, or just the normal booking patterns for that time of year. It's your best guess of how many more rooms you'll sell or pick up before that date arrives.
And the formula itself? It's actually super simple. You just take your reservations on hand, what you already have, and you add your expected pickup, what you think you're going to get. And boom, that's your forecast. That's it.
All right. Let's make this totally real. We're going to apply this formula to that scenario we started with. Time to crunch some numbers. First up, our reservations on hand. So, for that future date we're looking at, we have 20 rooms already booked. That's our solid starting number, our ROH. Next, we've got to estimate our pickup. So, looking at past data for similar times, we're projecting that we'll sell about 70 more rooms between today and that arrival date. So, there you have it. The two pieces of our equation. We've got 20 rooms already on the books, and we're expecting another 70 to come in. So what does that give us?
And there it is. The math is easy. Our forecast is 90 rooms. That is the number we are now projecting to sell for that night.
Now, 90 rooms, that's just a number by itself. So is it a good number or a bad one? Well, to figure that out, we have to compare it back to our original goal. And this, my friends, is the moment of truth. On the left, we have our forecast, 90 rooms. On the right, our target, 130 rooms. The gap is pretty obvious. We are not on track. So, in the lingo of revenue management, this is what we'd call a negative forecast. And that's not because the number itself is negative, but because we are predicting a negative outcome. We're on track to miss our target. And we can put an exact number on that problem. We are projecting a shortfall of 40 rooms. That is a pretty significant gap, and it's one that absolutely requires us to take action. And this right here is probably the most important thing to remember. A forecast isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning. It's not some passive prediction you just look at. It's an active tool that's screaming at you, hey, it's time to change your strategy. This is where forecasting becomes actual management. The numbers have flagged a problem for us. So the question is, what levers can we pull to try and fix it? Well, a good revenue manager has a whole toolkit ready to go. They can tweak the pricing, maybe launch a special promotion, they can shift which online travel sites they're focusing on, or they can get really strategic with something called availability controls, like requiring a 2-night minimum stay to shape the kind of demand they get. It's all about taking action based on what the data is telling you. And that really is the true power of forecasting. It's not about being a fortune teller. It's about using data to get a much clearer picture of what's probably going to happen so you can make smarter, more profitable decisions right now. So I'll just leave you with this to think about. How can predicting the future change the decisions you make today?